Hi, Yizhao Martins, licensed and marriage family therapist, couples therapist. So we'll continue with our authority issues in ADHD-impacted relationship today, and I'm speaking to you from slightly polluted Beijing, China. So today our topic is focusing on money. So money is a big issue in couples relationship. I see there are some common themes here in ADHD-impacted relationships. So the ADHD partner tend to have some impulsive spending, and maybe there's a lack of planning and savings, and which leads to debt sometimes, and then also there are frequent incurring late fees. For example, tax, if they're not paying tax on time, they may pay penalty, and sometimes the credit card payment is also not made timely, and they have to pay a late fee. Those are common complaints about partners with ADHD. So all of those can really cause some trouble for them financially, where sometimes you can see their bank account is overblowing and suddenly depleted, right? There's not a lot of a steady flow. And how's that impacting the non-ADHD partner, and how the non-ADHD partner respond to all of that? So one thing is they tend to come up with a lot of judgments, right, towards their partner with the ADHD and their spending habits. And that may come with a lot of nagging and negativity, right? And they also may feel quite anxious towards this financial situation, and they may overreach and cross boundaries to either give their partner advice or try to control the spending and financial health of their relationship, and there might be a lack of trust and feeling insecure in their financial situation. So all of those behaviors create this dynamic, and you're probably already familiar with the parent-child dynamic that I've talked about here in many videos. And this particular incident is very much like a teenager and a parent dynamic. So the ADHD partner is more like a teenager, adolescent. They're carefree, they focus on pleasure and things they want. They're very spontaneous and impulsive when it comes to spending, right? And they don't worry too much about what's the reserve and planning. While the non-ADHD partner is behaving more like a parent, and they can over control and restrain the expenditure and spending, so their ADHD partner feel like being restricted, and they push against the non-ADHD partner. They got into this parent-child dynamic and creates a lot of conflict and tension. So all of those actually, in essence, is authority issue for both the partner with ADHD, the partner doesn't have ADHD. So let's take a look at those dynamic, those relationship from the three perspectives that I mentioned in my previous video. The first one is thought and feelings and bodily sensation. The second one is boundaries in the dynamic interpersonal. The third one is values, and if they are able to describe their values and negotiate them when they're different. So let's take a look at the body sensation, mind, and thoughts and feelings first. What are some thoughts and their characteristic of ADHD partner when it comes to money? So their description of their thoughts about money might be quite global and general. That shows like a reduced self-definition. They may not be very clear about what they want, actually. They want a pleasure, but they may not be very clear how to express the values related to money. And they also emotionally can be avoidant, right? And they may feel too vulnerable to express their desire, how they feel about their desire to their partner. Partially based on their dynamic of the parent-child dynamic, they feel unsafe to do so. And so generally for the ADHD partner, there's a lack of self-definition. They're very global and general in their expression of their thoughts, and they're avoiding their feelings and expressing their feelings to their partner. So you can see the lack of connection right there. And for the non-ADHD partner who is over responsible, right? And some of them can also have a lack of awareness of their thoughts and feelings, their bodily sensation. It's possible, especially for those who had experienced some adverse childhood experiences and trauma. They could be overtaken by their emotions as there's a build up resentment and hurt and grief in a non-ADHD partner facing their partner's way of spending, and they have to be the one that's being vigilant about money. So there's a lot of burden they're carrying, so they feel very anxious, very hurt, and very sad and angry, and a lot of tension if they're used to hold their emotions without expressing them properly. Tension in the stomach and in the heart, right? Block it. So when they're burned out, they really block their heart. They just continue this heart-to-heart conversation with their partner. So the second one is boundaries, and I mentioned a little bit, right? For the ADHD partner, if this dynamic continues, they may feel the need to be overbounded, which shows up as a withdrawn and avoidant. They may just totally shut down, don't want to have a conversation with their partner about money at all, and don't talk about how they feel about things, really thickening their boundary to protect themselves, right? And when their partners mention money issues, they're activated protectors to show up, like wanting to defend themselves, to say, I'm really okay here, please don't attack me more. I can't take that. And for the non-ADHD partner, you probably already can think about, oh, they can be actually less bounded, and they're bounded. Their boundaries is not as strong, so they overreach their boundary to their partner's space and start to point fingers and tell them what to do or trying to fix the problem, right? And then let's talk about the values. So the values of the non-ADHD partner sometimes unclear, and they really want to seek pleasure in things enjoyable for them and bring them joy, but they may not have a very strong value when it comes to planning and what's important to them. For example, prioritizing education over pleasure or parenting. And then that's a process actually for them to discover what's important to them. You know, some people may think, well, I want to do this venture, I want to do this trip because it's important to me. That's a value, that's true. But also when they're in a relationship, just like teenagers, they haven't really thought through how to balance those with other important expenditures like family, rearing, like education, long-term planning, retirement, right? So it's really about their integrating their different parts of them have different values before they are able to express them to their partner and have a conversation about it. And for the non-ADHD partner, sometimes they really close out their boundary and then they get really rigid, right, regarding what is valuable, and they may want to put their value on the ADHD partner without having any negotiation and listening. For example, if they really emphasize long-term saving and retirement, and their standard is that we don't want to overspend anything, we want to really like keep everything tight for now, we don't have to live as comfortably and luxurious, they like in order to save money for the future or invest in something. And when their partners teenager behavior start to push back, and they may just shut them down and doesn't allow any room to negotiate and to hear each of them what are important for each of them, and different aspects and parts of them have different values, and what are they and how to integrate all of them. So thank you for doing this, and this is a beginning for a conversation that's really broad and hard to cover within just 10 minutes. Money is such a huge issue. I will bring in more specific topics on money in the future for ADHD impacted relationship. Until next time.